Enough of that. Enough of that. Welcome to KO Bets. On this show, we discuss betting strategies for upcoming UFC events. My name is Bill. I'm here to help you make some money, give you some entertainment tonight. We're going to be discussing the upcoming UFC fights. We've got UFC Fight Night Andrade against Blanchfield to go over tonight. We've got trending topics, and we're just going to hang out for about an hour. Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel. I'm doing an NFT giveaway. At 100 subscribers, we're going to give away another NFT. It'll probably be an NBA Top Shot moment. I think that's what it's going to be. So we're going to do that at 100 subscribers. We're at 60 currently. We got to recap UFC 284. This was our first losing weekend, actually, last weekend. So far, still a good start to the year, but didn't have the best performance with the picks that I put out there. And then we'll go over Andrade, Blanchfield, this card that's coming up tomorrow, and then trending topics. And we'll call it an evening. I hope everyone's having a nice Friday night. Oh, in addition, we gotta review Proper 12, Irish Apple. I'm super excited to do that. If you want to hear how this stuff is, stick around to the end. Stick around. I'm gonna do it at the end. Right now, I'm doing a old fashioned. The main ingredient, whiskey. All right, let's go over last week's event. So first of all, Volkanovski, incredible performance in the main event, right? I think he caught me off guard. I went with the Islam submission, I think, for minus 140. Volkanovski had a terrific performance. I'm not sure, I'm not really sure what, he definitely could have done more. Both fighters could have done more, but, it was such a close fight, competitive fight. I had picked Islam. I had Islam winning it. I scored it for Islam, but Josh Emmett, that was a bad pick. And that was a pick that I nominated, published on Twitter. By the way, in the bottom left-hand corner here, you'll see my Twitter handle. If you follow me there, I always post the bets I'm making for UFC fights. I'll do that typically Saturday morning before the event. Josh Emmett was a fighter that I had picked, so we whiffed 0 for 2 in the main event, and that's really what did us in. I did for decision only. I had nominated Parker Porter, but it was a knockout, so a push. The draw between Crute and Menningfield was interesting. Tyson Pedro lost to Bukakis. That was kind of crazy. Melsick lost. Clydeson won. Malarkey won. Jack Jenkins won. Loma. That was our biggest bet, I think, was on Loma. Blake Bilder looked great against Shane Young. And Elvis Brenner upset, right, with the split decision. I think that was a bad judging decision, but this was the biggest favorite on the card, I believe, at like minus 580, minus 600 odds. So that wasn't a pick I had published just because the odds were kind of crazy, but yeah, unlucky if you had Zybora in your parlays. Really, really tough card to predict, though. Had a lot of trouble with it. Let's see how we did. So on the money line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7-4-1. Another draw. I think have we had back-to-back weeks with draws? Yeah, Doohoo Choi and Kyle Nelson had a draw. Interesting. I mean, I'm counting draws in my total tally. It's just, I think they're very seldom, like 8 a year, and we've seen 2 of them. It's just kind of interesting. All right, we got fights. We got to move on from that, right? Put it away. We got to move on from that. We've got Clayton Carpenter, UFC Fight Night, Andrade against Blanchfield. It's taking place at the UFC Apex Arena. Andrade is coming in here on short notice for Talia Santos. I think the main event got dropped. I forget who it was supposed to be, but I'm pretty sure Blanchfield was the co-main. But now Andrade versus Blanchfield for the main event, and I think there's some money-making opportunities here. First fight in the night, we got Clayton Carpenter taking on Juan Camilo Ronderos. Something I got to do is make time for practicing my pronunciations. I think a lot of times, too often, I'm trying to pronounce these names for the first time on stream. And it's not disrespectful, but it's unprofessional. You know what I mean? By the way, a lot of people think this is fake. That's disrespectful. This is, they're like, oh, they don't make them that small. And it's the same manufacturer that made Cejudos. It's the same exact manufacturer. So don't come at me with it's not real, it's plastic. It's from Walmart, it's for 8-year-olds, it's $40. It's not. It's real. First fight of the night, we got Clayton Carpenter taking on Juan Camilo Ronderos. Clayton Carpenter, a Dana White Contender Series fighter, making his UFC debut. He is 6-0 professionally. What he brings to the table, he's a really good wrestler, grappler. He's going up against Juan Camilo Ronderos, who's 0-1 in the UFC. Faced David Dvorak in his debut. Round 1 submission. He's been laid off since then. That was in May of 2021. He's also a solid grappler. I think it just comes down to, honestly, in this matchup, who's going to be the better grappler, who's going to be the minute winner. I'm going to have to go with Clayton Carpenter here. Clayton Carpenter, if we're looking at the odds, is the favorite at -305. Juan Camilo, I think what I don't like about him is, while he's a good grappler, he's just not very offensive with his grappling approach. He's more defensive with it, I would say. As far as a striking advantage, Juan Camilo could possibly go out there and be the better striker, but I don't think that's going to be the case. That just the long layoff too after losing to Dvorak via submission, that wasn't good. Yeah, and if you're a grappler, that's where you're usually making up any discrepancy differences. Grappling and you're getting submitted. I know David Dvorak's pretty good, but I think Clayton Carpenter has a good chance to be the better grappler in this. I think the odds makers, we just saw him get submitted. I'm going to guess this one. SureDog is, they don't like the ad blocker, and it's kind of annoying. I might have to find a new business partner, because this is ridiculous. 2 submission victories for Clayton Carpenter. 2 knockout victories. Odds makers don't like this one to go the distance, so I'm guessing they like that submission. Oh, they like the KO at plus 175. I mean, I do think Clayton Carpenter, I think he is going to be the better grappler in this fight. I think that is a good reason to put money behind him, because I don't think Juan Camilo's that great of a striker, or he's going to be better than Clayton. Gosh, as far as picking an exact method of victory, I mean, I'm inclined to say the submission just because Dvorak got him. But that might not be the game plan for Clayton Carpenter. It might be more ground and pound. You get a knockout. Maybe Juan Camilo shores up his defense. Maybe he just got caught by Dvorak. It was fluky and he goes the distance. It's tough. It's grappler against grappler. I think there might be some value on this decision at plus 300, but, seeing Juan Camilo get choked out in his last fight, it's tough to bet on that. AJ Fletcher taking on Themba Gorimbo. AJ Fletcher, he's 0-2 in the UFC. Really, really tough first two matches against Matt Semmelsberger and Anglusa. Dana White contenders UFC debut. He's on a one-fight win streak from Fury FC. Just hasn't fought the best of competition prior to making his debut tomorrow. Brings wrestling to the table, but at the same time doesn't really have good defensive tactics against other wrestlers. Will get taken down, will get controlled. AJ Fletcher brings good power to the table, is probably more dangerous as the striker in this matchup. Might be able to wrestle too. I mean, 2.3 takedowns per 3 rounds. I think this is a spot where they're making AJ Fletcher look really good, personally. That's what I think. I don't view Themba as a really good striker. It might come down to, again, who's the better grappler. I think that's going to be AJ Fletcher, and just stylistically how he approaches fights. And then I think, his power is going to be the one driving Themba backwards. It's always, unless you're slipping under a punch and timing it properly, it's always hard to get those takedowns moving backwards with your back to the fence. It just seems easier to lock people up when they can't move backwards anymore. So I like AJ Fletcher a lot in this fight. Looking at the odds, AJ Fletcher is at minus 295. If I had to pick, I really do. So let's look at Themba's losses. Shit. Let's look at Themba's losses, right? See, this shit's annoying. I'm going to have to find a different site, because I'm not going to turn off ad blocker. It could just be my malware bytes, actually. I'm going to quit that. I quit my malware bytes. All right, we got to probably pick up my pace here. So Themba, 2 losses inside the distance, a knockout loss and a submission loss. So yeah, I kind of think this is a setup. Odds makers do not like this to go the distance. No. Minus 225. Yeah, I kind of like Fletcher inside the distance. As far as winning method, odds makers like the KO. He does carry big power on the feet. I'd have to agree that, and just given Themba's background as a grappler, I have to agree. I think the KO is the most sensible one, but I kind of like, maybe there's like a finish only AJ Fletcher minus 400. Are you kidding me? Jeez. Yeah, I would say AJ Fletcher inside the distance, minus 115. I don't know. Maybe I'm just using AJ Fletcher as like a round robin parlay piece. Just with minus 295 odds. I think he could put away Themba inside the distance. I do think this is a fight that's designed to make him look pretty good, if that makes sense. Ovan St. Peru taking on Philip Lins. Ovan St. Peru, he's on a 1-fight win streak. So is Philip Lins. Ovance, I mean, his last fights, there's a lot left to be desired. Beat Rua, got starched by Bozer. Hill, that's understandable, right? But that's at 205, and he does drift between the heavyweight and 205 division. Yeah, I feel like if he can... It seems like the last time I saw him win, he was doing like an anaconda, like a triangle or an anaconda choke or something. He obviously, that wasn't Rua. I'm talking about like a dominant win. He just hasn't like looked the same lately, I guess. I've been extremely underwhelmed with what I've seen from Ovan St. Peru as of late. Philip Lins, I don't feel comfortable betting money on Philip Lins. Philip Lins is on a 1-fight win streak, came from the PFL. I mean, we got to look at his UFC record. It's not the best. Both have gotten starched by Tanner. And then you got Marcin Prachnio he beat. I don't know. I'm going to go with Philip Lins just because I like him as the minute winner in this. I just like him to win minutes, I suppose. Be more active as far as output. You can see it in the significant strikes. It's about little over a half a strike, 3/4 more strikes. You know what I'm saying. 7.7 more strikes per minute. Extrapolate that data across 15 minutes and you're left with a significant discrepancy, right? Not that bad. But I'm going to roll with Philip Lins. Philip Lins is the favorite at minus 205. I'd have to say the decision, but I mean, I think both of these guys could knock each other out. Fight props, odds makers do not like this to go the distance. I mean, the Philip Lins decision is kind of where I'm leaning. I guess the knockout's live for either fighter. I don't know. I don't really see Ovan St. Peru getting into a dogfight. I really don't see it. Jamal Emmers is taking on Hussein Askabov. Hussein is making his UFC debut. He's 23-0 professionally, from Russia. I don't know who his matchmaker was, but he must have been paying him well, because the resume's not great, Undefeated. He's beat everyone. Everything you put in front of him, he's passed the test, right? Jamal Emmers, just a better resume. There's no debating it. There really is no debating it. Pat Sabatini beat him. He went to a split decision against Giga Chikadze. Lost to Julian Erosa on Dana White's Contender Series. Has a win over Corey Sandhagen. Lost to Thiago Moises. Just has a win against Alexander Hernandez. Just has fought a way better level of competition. And, yeah, is Hussein undefeated, making his debut? Yes. What does he bring to the table against a guy like Jamal Emmers? maybe grappling. I mean, if you look at his wins, Hussein's wins, let's see. Lots of submission victories at 10. Anaconda, guillotine, heel hook. I mean, I don't think he's gonna, honestly, I don't think he's gonna outstrike Emmers. That's just my belief. I think his best chance to win would be like catching him with an armbar or something like that. I mean, Jamal Emmers, 100% takedown defense. Shoots for a lot of takedowns in his own right and is persistent with them. I think there's an opportunity here on Emmers against a fighter with a really, really good record. Emmers is an underdog, plus 130. We're rolling with Emmers, plus 130. How's he going to win? I'm inclined to say it does go the distance, and Jamal Emmers wins by decision there at plus 350. It also feels risky to do. I mean, Jamal Emmers has hurt really, really good fighters. Let's look at Emmers. His wins, 10 out of 18 have come inside the distance. I don't think he's getting those submissions. So 7 out of 11 via KO. 7 out of 28 via KO. 7 out of 18. It's the freaking old fashioned. I'm blaming it. Yeah, but I'm going to go with Emmers. Probably the decision at plus 350. But I really like Emmers. I think that's a terrific parlay piece. Not a parlay piece. A terrific round robin piece. I think there's just really good value on that. And then I liked Fletcher too as a round robin piece. Maybe Clayton Carpenter. Yeah. Next fight is Lena Landsberg taking on Mayra Bueno Silva. Lena Landsberg, she's on a 3-fight losing streak. She heads into this contest with 7 straight decisions. Is 40 years old. Mayra Bueno Silva is on a 2-fight win streak, and she's a heavy favorite. Good grappler. 6 wins via submission out of her 9. Has good output, good volume in the striking. I mean, what Lena brings to the table is really good power. I think Mayra Bueno Silva is the biggest favorite on the card at minus 475. I like Mayra to win this fight. I don't know if you can bet minus 475 on her. If this fight stays standing, like, as far as damage, there's a chance Lena could be the more damaging striker, in my opinion. I think the easiest method to victory for Mayra Silva is the takedowns, and statistically, she's landed 0 in the UFC. So it's not good. Not great takedown defense from Lena Landsberg, but also not really a part of the game plan for Mayra Bueno Silva. So I think this is a good line to avoid, personally. If you're sprinkling Lena Landsberg, you're crazy, but I love it. Odds makers like this one to go the distance, minus 150. If Silva's not taking her down, like, there's a really good chance I feel like this does go the distance. And you're getting it at minus 150. Split decision. if it does get there, plus. Alright, so occasionally the internet shits out on me, right? We're back, though. We're back. I've learned my lesson. Exit. Just let it run its course. Reconnect. We'll be good. Nazim Sadikov taking on Evan Elder. Nazim is heading into this 7-1 professionally, making his UFC debut from Dana White's Contender Series. Evan Elder 0-1 in the UFC. His debut was on short notice, gets a full notice for this event. Comparing the fighters, Nazim, well-rounded, good cardio, toughness, solid IQ. Well-rounded, so a good striker and grappler is all I mean by that. I think this is the guy that trains with, like, Frivola, Quarantillo, Aljamain, some of those guys. How they fight is a good reflection of Nazim. I know they all kind of fight differently. Nazim's tough, is all I'm trying to say. And he has good cardio, you know? He's just I wouldn't want to fight him. Probably wouldn't want to fight anyone on here, but you get what I'm saying. Evan Elder, also super tough. You know, I think where he struggled in his last fight was takedown defense. I think he might struggle a little bit in this one as well. I just think there's too many paths to victory for Nazim. So I'm going to roll with Nazim in this fight, making his debut. I just think the takedown defense for Evan Elder is going to be an issue. I do really like the durability of both of these fighters. So I think the fight to go the distance is probably a decent bet. Here we go. Nazim is minus 200. Yeah, I do like Nazim in this fight. And then as far as... So, I mean, the fight to go the distance, yes, at plus 100. Both of these guys are tough. Really tough. Durable. Good cardio. So I like the decision for either guy. But, yeah, I think there might be some value on that fight does go the distance. Or maybe like the over 2.5. No, it's minus 120, but... it's still not bad. So I like either of those bets. I'm going to do the plus 100. I think this does go to a decision because of the durability and toughness of these two fighters. And that concludes the prelims. By the way, these start at 3 p.m. Central Time, the prelims on ESPN Plus, and then the main event is also on ESPN Plus. And that starts at 6 p.m. Jim Miller taking on Alexander Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez is coming in here on short notice on a 2-fight losing streak. Coming back from 145 pounds up to 155 pounds. You know, the dude's young, right? What's his age? 30. Yeah, still young. You know, seemed like a fucking killer when he started off his career in the UFC. Just looked unstoppable. And then, obviously, the Donald Cerrone fight happened, and he just hasn't been the same since. And I don't know if it's confidence or what it is, but it's not good. You know, I think I think I'm just like, I was so high on him as a prospect, and then just have been so underwhelmed as a, a fan, and I don't know. It's like the cardio is not good. He's a great wrestler. He's dangerous early, but the cardio is really bad. The durability is bad, and you can't slice through every opponent. You can't dominate everyone, and some guys just need to embrace the fact that it could be a battle, and they need to train that way. And I don't know what is up with Alexander Hernandez, but I'm gonna go with Jim Miller in this fight. Jim Miller's on a 3-fight win streak. He's had proper notice for the fight. His last 3 wins were all finishes, 2 second-round KOs, a submission in there as well. He's had conditioning issues of his own. He seemed first round or bust for a long time, and now he's really improved and seems to just, we had 2, I think, KOs, one against Mata. I don't know who the other one was against, but 2 second-round KOs in that 3-fight win streak, and he looks great. He's the older fighter, definitely. This isn't an easy opponent, but it's nothing Jim hasn't seen before. Like I said, I've got a real problem with Alex Hernandez, his durability and his conditioning, coming in here on short notice. Like maybe he wins. This is probably a good one to avoid, in my opinion. Unless you're really sold on Jim Miller. I just wouldn't bet Alex Hernandez at -215. I'm going with Jim Miller at plus odds, at plus 185, I guess he's at. Yeah, man, I do like inside the distance for this. Yeah, Noah's at -250. I think just like the fact, like, we've just seen Alex give up, and that's why I like that -250. And then, like, even though we've seen Jim Miller get the second round finishes, I'm not super confident in his gas tank either. So I kind of like inside the distance. For Jim Miller, I'd say I kind of like the knockout. Like, I like Alex Hernandez kind of shoot in. KOs plus 900. That's crazy. Why am I talking about this? It's probably this, right? Yeah. Plus 900. That's crazy. I don't like the submission, really. Alex Hernandez probably has been submitted several times, but 3 knockout losses, only 1 submission loss. I kind of like that Jim Miller knockout. Hernandez is tired, shooting for reckless takedowns, and Jim Miller just punches him, flips him over, hammer fist for the win. Round 2. Another round 2 KO for Jim Miller. What's that at? Plus 2,500. This is insane. Do not bet. Don't bet like that. You know what I mean? You can sprinkle a little bit on that for fun if you want, but yeah, that's kind of crazy. I think another thing is if you like this fight to go the distance, it could be pretty close, just because it could get really sloppy in the second and third round from like just aesthetically. I think it'll be like both of these guys look bad if this does get into the third round. Not like they're beat up bad, just like they're tired. Next fight we've got is William Knight taking on Marcin Prachnio. This is a sketchy fight. Basically a pick'em. You can see the odds down here. Minus 115, minus 105. William Knight weighed in at 250 for heavyweight his last fight. Or 2 fights ago. I think it was maybe 2 fights ago. Because I think Devin Clark's not there. But anyways, William Knight, 5'10", stocky, 205, strong, big power. 9 out of 11 wins come via KO. Taking on Prachnio, who's also got good power in his own right. I mean, this is either going to be like a really crazy knockout, I think, in round 1, or it could be just like a really bad fight. I'm not, guys. I mean, bad defense from William Knight. It didn't seem like he was. It doesn't seem like he lands a lot of punches. It says he's at a 59% significant of his significant strikes. Or, they land at that rate. That doesn't match what my eyes see, but I'll take your word for it. We've seen both of these guys get finished. I like the odds of like this one ending inside the distance. I'm gonna go with William Knight, but I don't feel confident either way. I'm guessing the odds makers. It doesn't go the distance at minus 225. I kind of like that. And I like the William Knight KO if I'm going with him. I like the Prachnio KO if I'm going with him. Sketchy fight. I'd avoid it. I'd avoid it for sure. Josh Parisian taking on Jamal Pogues. Josh Parisian, he's heading into this contest on a 1-fight win streak, 2-2 in the UFC. Possesses really big power, good stand-up. Jamal Pogues, more of that wrestler mold. We've seen Josh Parisian struggle with grapplers. You saw the takedown defense here at 42%. Jamal Pogues is persistent as a grappler, so I think as long as Jamal Pogues is grappling, this fight's going to go in his favor. So I like Jamal Pogues in this situation just to kind of wrestle F him, 255 minus 255. I like the fight to go the distance for it to be a decision for Jamal Pogues. Plus 150. Odds makers, it's a pick'em. Does it go the distance, doesn't it? It's a pick'em. Alright, the next fight of the night, the co-main event, is a light heavyweight bout, so 205. Jordan Wright taking on Zach Pauga. Jordan Wright, 12-4 on a 3-fight losing streak, 2-4 in the UFC. Zach Pauga coming off of a 1-fight losing streak. He fought Muhammad Usman, Ultimate Fighter finale for heavyweight. Now he's dropping down to 205, going back to his original weight class. He was looking good in the fight against Usman until he got cracked. He trains with Curtis Blades, should have really good grappling. I like Zach Pauga. I like Jordan Wright as well. But there's some things that are left to be desired, like gas tank, IQ, the duty, and then he just kind of falls off a cliff, in my opinion. I like Zach Pauga, minus 275 odds. Kind of sketchy, right, with the knockout prowess and submission prowess of Jordan Wright. I don't think he's going to submit him, but could he crack him? Could we see the same thing we saw against Usman, against Zach Pauga and Jordan Wright cracking him with a punch, dropping him? we could see it, but I'm going to roll with Zach Pauga here. Zach Pauga minus 275 as the favorite. I'm going to guess odds makers do. Let's see. Jordan Wright, 4 losses. All of them inside the distance. Every single fight of his inside the distance. So I'm going to guess, the Pauga KO minus 165, that doesn't look good. I'd rather just do Pauga at minus 275 in a round robin or something. But I think the Pauga KO is what I like. I like Jordan Wright to get tired and get KO'd. What about the KO in general? That could cover us for the first 2 minutes if it does go. Yeah, that's 100. I don't really like that either. Yeah, I mean, I'd encourage you, like, if you're going with Jordan Wright, check out the stats, man. Jordan Wright, all 12 wins inside the distance. Second round, first, second, first. Lots of first round. Like, the dude's dangerous early. So if you're going with, if what you want to do is roll with Jordan Wright, why not do something like this, man? Plus 380. You get the under, right? Under 1.5. Have him win in round 1, plus 475. Pick the method of victory, plus 600, you know? I think he's dangerous early. I think that's his best hope of winning. And finally, we've got Jessica Andrade taking on Erin Blanchfield. Jessica Andrade coming into this fight on short notice. She's taking on Erin Blanchfield, who is supposed to fight Talia Santos. In my opinion, that would have been a more reasonable opponent than Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade, her resume is as good as it gets. She obviously has losses to Namajunas, Shevchenko, Wei Li, probably Joanna. But the level of competition is just insane, right? Valentina, Rose, Wei Li, Joanna, and she's only 31. It's just crazy, the experience she has and how strong she is, and just how good she is as a fighter. I think Erin Blanchfield is really good as well, but I think this is she's getting pushed along a little too quickly. I don't know what the scenario was, like why you called up Jessica Andrade on short notice here, but it's going to be a 5-round fight. Obviously, Blanchfield is a terrific grappler. I just really like Jessica Andrade's strength, and I think it's going to be really, like, Jessica Andrade, in my opinion, isn't the fighter to get. It's a fight, you got to get physical, but, like, isn't the fighter to, like, try and impose your physicality against. That's just my opinion. I think Andrade probably welcomes a grapple-heavy opponent and feels very confident she can beat this type of opponent. So I really like Andrade. I saw a video clip this week on Twitter, and I could pull it up even, but Jessica Andrade, I think she's tied for the most fights ever in women's UFC history. I think she might be second in victories in women's UFC history. Just an outstanding fighter and has so much left in the gas tank. Erin Blanchfield, only 23 years old. Terrific prospect in her own right. I think this is just, trying to push her through a little bit too quickly. So I'm going to roll with Andrade at minus 120. I really like her. As far as the method of victory, I'd say a decision in all likelihood, but Andrade is one of those people, like, she's just dangerous. So they have the KO at plus 130 as the favorite, but I think there might be some value on that plus 650, simply because Erin Blanchfield does have that defense ability to just shoot for takedowns and maybe get it to the mat. And even if she's not, like, able to hold down Andrade or really secure those takedowns, I do think it negates the ability for Andrade to be super aggressive on the feet as a striker. So I'd say there's probably some value on that plus 650. I expect Andrade to land the harder punches. I expect her to be more active as far as output. If she gets Erin Blanchfield moving backwards as a grapple-heavy fighter at any point tomorrow, I'm going to feel really good about the Andrade bet. But yeah, I'm going to roll with Andrade in that fight. Like I said, if you're not already, give me a follow. You can see my Twitter right there. It's at BillCallahan92. I'm going to pull it up here too so you can see it. Right? KO Bets, Media Mogul, like to golf. Let's go home. So before we get going, right? Before we get going, everyone needs to pause. Take a break for a second. I gotta go get an ice cube. We're doing the proper 12 review. The smoothest, most delicious Irish tasting whiskey you've ever had. That's my Connor cutout. He's like a couple feet tall. Alright, so this is my official review. This is, you know, we typically have a beverage on the stream. This is my first drink review, though. So, if you, this might be a fun addition to make. I like making cocktails. I like the pageantry of it. I think it's just an all-around fun thing to do. I think the next drink I really want to try is, before I say this, I just want to make sure it's an actual drink. Yeah. It's called a Negroni, and I just wanted to make sure I had that right. It's got some it's a mixture of different liqueurs. I think it's got gin in it, and some other ones, orange slice. Just looks kind of interesting, so I think that's kind of what I want to maybe explore next. I've been doing a lot of old fashions though as of late, but you know, I don't think I want to do an old fashioned with this. How I imagine this is gonna taste is if you've ever had like Jack Daniel's apple or Jim Beam apple. I'm sure it's kind of along those lines. So I just cracked the seal on it. First of all, the bottle very similar to the other Proper 12 bottle, just a little more green on there, right? Um, as far as the color, I don't think it's any lighter, but it's tough to tell in the green bottle. Immediately, yeah, you're getting like Jack apple kind of scent. I'll show you here the pour. Let's do to that line on the glass. Now, yeah, it's just really smells like apple. It smells like apple a lot. And I know it's going to be just like really boozy as well. I did have a couple of old fashions, so I think it's good. It should be pretty smooth. I think it's cold enough now. So after my first sip, the immediate thought is like the apple smells. It smells more artificial than it tastes. Like the smell of it is very, like it's appley, right? You get like a cider kind of scent to it. It smells really sweet. That's another thing I notice about Proper 12 is it's really smooth generally. Like I was just drinking Maker's Mark. This is way smoother. And the apple flavor, it's there. I don't know if it's because I've had a couple of drinks, but it's like more subtle than like I would have expected. It's good. It's good. Like I think you could legit, like I don't know if you can really make drinks with Jack Apple or Jim Beam Apple or anything like that. I think you could. I actually kind of want to make like an old fashioned using this apple whiskey. And a huge fan of Irish whiskeys. I get Proper 12 sometimes. I get Jameson sometimes. But as far as whiskeys, I'm typically like a bourbon kind of guy. Been doing Maker's Mark for old fashions. Yeah, I don't know. If we're gonna rate this out of a 10, I think for the price point and it's a really good whiskey. I think it's not like my favorite thing in the world, right? The Irish whiskeys, like I said, but I don't want to be too harsh just because like maybe it's not my thing. Like I enjoy personally like Howlerhead a little bit more than this. Another, Dana White's banana whiskey. I like that as a fruity whiskey a little bit more than the apple here. I'm gonna put it at like a 7.2 out of 10. I'm gonna put it at, and then I gotta see if Connor retweeted me because I said I would subtract a point if he didn't retweet me. Let's check it out. I don't have a million notifications, so I'm guessing he didn't. So ultimately a 6.2 is where I would rate Proper 12 Apple Whiskey out of 10. A 6.2 out of 10. Like, am I gonna drink this stuff? Yeah, of course. How long is it gonna take me to drink it? Probably a long time. Like, I'm gonna experiment with it, try some different beverages together. I'll let you know if I find anything good. On its own, though, as a chilled shot, a 6.2 out of 10. Not bad. And to be frank, it's a little bit smoother than I thought it would be. It really is. Just drinking it on an ice cube like this, it's a little bit smoother than I thought it would be. All right, we got to do trending topics, and then we got to sign off because we're over an hour. Let's go. We got SmackDown. Dumb. Drag Race. Not my thing. Jose Alvarado. I think he was on JJ Redick's podcast. He was he's in the Rising Stars game. Whatever. DK Metcalf. He wants to be a bear. Oh, no, he was taking over the celebrity game. How big is DK Metcalf? You got him playing a celebrity game? 6'4", 235? Yeah. I mean, he's a little bit shorter, but he's like LeBron James out there, you know? Why is MySpace trending? I like this meme. It's true, all of it. Gen Z, MySpace, a non-toxic, non-algorithmic social media. MySpace was cool. Honestly, like, the thing I remember using, like, in middle school was AOL, Instant Messenger. Like, that was a lot of fun. You'd just be on the computer, like, playing a game or whatever. You'd just be, like, chatting. And this was before, like, everyone had, you know, cell phones and was text. You could just, like, text each other all the time. I thought AOL Instant Messenger was a lot of fun. I probably still have an AOL account out there. I remember, like, on my profile I had, like, music video, you know, like, music that I liked, and it was like a music video linked to YouTube. YouTube was just becoming a thing, like a prominent thing at that point. And it's just crazy to think, like, where we're at now. It's just, you know, it might have even been before middle school, but yeah, it's just crazy to think, like, what's developed now. By the way, I'm not on Facebook. I like Twitter a lot. I've got a TikTok, but I got to do more content on there. I'm just not, I don't know, just not into, like, I'm not into Facebook right now. By the way, you like this shirt? KO Bets, sports gambling and entertainment. Alright, Albert Pujols. I was in a fantasy baseball league. Oh, Pujols is playing in the game. And this Cardinals fan in my fantasy baseball league, his team name was Upper Pujols. Just goofy. Ronda Rousey, I'm guessing. Former UFC fighter, UFC star, turned WWE star. This is gonna be that weird anime shit, isn't it? Oh no, it's another WWE fighter. There's always, it feels like every Friday when we're looking at the trending topics, there's always like a, we click on something and it takes us to some like anime stuff that's just a little bit out there and weird. Alright, I don't know. I feel like trending topics wasn't really great. Mayor Lightfoot, Chicago, America. Once beautiful city as Chicago has become boarded up, crime infested, and filthy under Lightfoot's progressivism. So, as a Chicagoan, I can say confidently that this isn't a Lightfoot issue. This is just something that's been a reality for a long time. Just Chicago's crime it's not good, right? And actually this is a slow time of year generally. It's safer in the winter time, but I mean, these look like homeless people. These don't look like criminals, and I don't think, I mean, I'm very obviously conservative, and I'm not necessarily a Lightfoot fan, but I don't think we need to portray homeless people as being criminals. I don't think that's I don't know. There's just a lot of homeless people that struggle with like mental diseases, addictions. There's oftentimes disconnect between reality and what's what they're doing, what they're prioritizing is what I would say. And it's very hard to empathize with from like a mentality perspective, but as far as like putting yourself in their shoes, it's like, I mean, I'm sure not the best situation, and but I'm not sure like what the at the end of the day, there does need to be a little bit of self-accountability, and you do need to be a individual who, like, if you want to change, like, if you want to change, there's, it's not an overnight thing. It's like baby steps, and like the burden of responsibility doesn't fall on the rest of society, but I don't think it's right to depict homeless, like a filthy homeless encampment. I don't know who the fuck Jack Lombardi the second is. Like, I don't know, man. I'm Catholic. It doesn't seem like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a loving message, does it? Or like a fuck every person using homeless people in O'Hare as a political pawn this morning. The same type of people who paid for that Jesus ad during the I mean, again, I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that at all. But I do think there is a lot of hypocrisy in society, and I think it's, I don't know, there's certain parts of society that are like acceptable to just shit on, and I think Catholicism is that, Christianity is that right now, right? And I don't think it's right, but I'm not going to. I think there's so much like there's such a profound message as you get older and older and older and more experienced. Like, there is such a profound lesson in turning the other cheek that not only does it show like you can not take something personally, but it also like confirms someone's true intentions, right? Because if someone messes with you, someone fucks with you or whatever, right? And then it was a mistake, right? You give them the benefit of the doubt, the pass, and if they do it again, just like, you don't have time for that, right? As an individual, so like, lesson learned, move on, right? But I do think there's a lesson to be learned in that, and it's more like the older you get, the more profound some of those teachings become. And I do agree. I think it's like whatever this Jack Lombardi dude's doing, like, it's not right. But whatever. Let's see, O'Hare. What's Aries 12? Okay, Ken Griffin. Megatron's trending. Not sure. Oh, this is interesting to me. This East Palatine stuff. So, like, in case you didn't hear, basically there was a train derailed in Ohio, spilled a bunch of liquid vinyl, which I believe I saw it boils at a degrees of 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's got a very low boil point, right? So that's why it was shipped in liquid form under pressure. So this train flipped over. Liquid vinyl is pouring out. It's not polyvinyl, it's liquid vinyl is pouring out. It ignited, I'm sure, from the energy produced by the pressurized container. It ignited, and there's just like a lot of not great stuff going on. Look at this water. Like, there's something wrong. So vinyl, when it burns, so when it evaporates and combines with water, so it's burning, right? The vapors are going up, and it's combining with water in our atmosphere. It's raining hydrochloric acid right now. And I think, so the jet streams, you saw the balloon. So if the balloon came in through Alaska and ended up over the Chinese balloon, we looked at it the last time. Sorry, let me pull this up. North America jet streams. So you can, and because we've seen this, right, you can kind of see how generally the wind is moving from east to west throughout the United States. And yeah, are there swirling effects and opposing currents? Sure. But yeah, these toxins east coast up into Canada, and it's, southern Norfolk or Norfolk Southern, whatever this rail line is. Look at this. This is crazy. You see that, like, oil? We're sending $100 billion to Ukraine, and East Palatine, Ohio, just got rejected for disaster relief? it's crazy. So all these chemicals are leaking. I think it was... So each one of these tankers holds like an absurd amount of... It's like it's like 1 million pounds of liquid vinyl that got dumped and burned. And I don't think this is a good situation. And like, you're gonna see stuff, I'm sure, come up about like a brake system on the trains that, you know, there was a policy that was revoked in 2017. I don't, like, who knows if the brakes would have helped in this situation. I don't think they would have. It didn't seem like the research that was performed concluded that it would significantly improve the likelihood of disasters like this not happening. Like, it was, to put it in perspective, I think the ECP brakes performed at a 20% better clip than whatever brake systems are being used normally. But if you look at some of, like, the infrastructure, like the actual railroads in this country, like, they need a lot of maintenance. Like, we gotta rebuild, like, our roads, our railroad tracks. Our bridges. Like, there's a lot of infrastructure. I mean, if you got a kid growing up, like, civil engineering, not so much just, like, hugely important in the next like 15 to 50 years. I just think there's going to be, like, we had that building collapse in Miami last year. And the more shit that starts breaking down, the more we're going to... the more we're going to need engineers to figure out shit. Yeah, so white noise, that was interesting too. I love a good conspiracy theory, and it is weird. I'm not gonna lie, it is weird. White noise came out like a while ago, and it's the exact same scenario as what happened in real life in East Palestine, Ohio. And then there was I just heard there was another one in Michigan that fell over. So Connor, I think, Connor on The Ultimate Fighter, he's trending. I guess 3 of his own handpicked guys got put on the show, and people have an issue with that, right? They kicked off 3 existing opponents, and then they're gonna fight each other, right? And so the rumor is, what's being distributed, what's being talked about, there were 3 fighters on The Ultimate Fighter who had been invited. They were asked to leave so that Connor could have his guys on the show. And people are really mad at Connor. Like, let's talk about other UFC fighters. Like Chris Curtis. Connor removing Tough 31 contestants to make room for his own fighters. Most definitely true. What a fucking asshole. Look, ESPN, Disney, UFC could have told him no. ESPN, Disney, UFC could have just made room for 3 extra fighters on the show. Why not make room for more people? They didn't. I'm not going to get mad at Connor for going to bat over his guys. This message is brought to you by Apple Proper 12. I'm a fanboy. Yeah, I'm a fanboy So what? So what? I don't think it's not Conor's show. It's the fighter. It's being broadcast on ESPN. Just tell him no, right? If it's such a big deal, don't be mad at Conor. Joe Rogan, shocker. What does this say? Trans teacher with Z-sized prosthetic breasts dresses as a man outside of school. What the fuck? I'd like to see him from a side profile, but I do believe that's the same. It could be the same person. I shouldn't talk about it. This is going to get me in trouble. You know what? Folks, have a great night. Make sure you give me a follow on Twitter again. You can see it here in the lower... Here, let me pull up this camera here. Right here, you can see my Twitter. Give me a follow there at my Twitter. I will post my official picks and predictions tomorrow. Well, I made my official picks and predictions. I'll post my actual bets tomorrow, right? Units, we'll track those and everything. So give me a follow there. Before I sign off, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. I'm trying to grow this year, get to 125 subscriptions by the end of 2023. I think we could do it. We got it. We're 3 weeks into, I think, 8 straight weeks of UFC fights, and they're going to get crazy. So I promise just to be putting out great content. In May, we're going to do an Ultimate Fighter show. Got to figure out the format for that still, but if you wouldn't mind, please follow me on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it tremendously. Yeah, I think that concludes it. Have a great Friday evening, everyone. I hope you stay safe this weekend if you're doing anything crazy. I know my sister's in Sedona, so if you're traveling about, stay safe. Chicago, the snow should melt. We're going to be in the 40s. That's a good thing. So have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.